Hey guys, this is Andrei, a certified translator and a real estate concierge, probably with the prefix X hanging somewhere in the air. This is another update about how things are in Minsk and Belarus in these rather challenging times, and they're challenging indeed. As a little joke to start with, I have just been affected by the sanctions, which is a minor punch I should really mention. The software, the online portal where I'm slicing the icons for my videos, YouTube videos, has announced this morning that basically they no longer are available in my region because of the issues of my region. So that's just the beginning. I didn't really blog back in 2011 when we had the first hard currency crisis. In short, the supply of hard currency was basically dry for several months, February to June somewhere. And it turned out that our economy is badly dependent on the hard currencies, the US dollars and the euros, traditionally more US dollars, I told you that in the previous clips, and that our economy is badly import dominated, and that our products are mostly selling to Russia, which first was beneficial to the economy because they could buy more stuff cheaper, and so they bought more stuff, and that still didn't help. This time we are actually confronted with the lack of supplies as well as the lack of the hard currency, so the collapse of the economy is a matter of a couple of months. Now, I'm not an economist, I'm not a market analyst of some kind, I'm just a guy on the ground, so I can tell you from the human perspective what's going to happen. A lot of things that are imported are going to skyrocket in price or just vanish from the shelves because the importers will sell out what's left and they'll just wash their hands clean of the stuff. And that's simply a lot of stuff, guys. It's not just the grease for my gun or something that's just a niche kind of thing, but everyday stuff like cosmetics, car appliances, car parts, car cosmetics, all sorts of stuff. More than half of the things we have in the supermarkets and purpose stores and stuff like that. Speaking of my favorite field so far, the real estate market, things are pretty bad as well because things are developing fast with the rate. US dollar rate goes up, which means that the ruble value of the properties is also, let's say, increasing. The figure is increasing, the value is decreasing, and most of the things here, 99% properties are selling for dollars. People write down on the paper it's the equivalent of this much money in rubles, but they use dollars. And since there are fewer buyers, much fewer buyers than there used to be last year, and last year wasn't really the seller's market either, the prices for the houses, for the flats are going to drop badly, or some people will have to put their deals on hold. Right now, the market specialists are pointing out that the deals are collapsing because of the $2,000 deposits not being a deterrent enough to force people into concluding the deal. US dollar rate has gone up by some 15% at least within the last week, and that's just the beginning. And in Russia, I guess it has done so by 100%, and their ruble is actually equal to our ruble, which is kind of a joke. But that's what's happening, and the real estate is going down. Deals are dropping in numbers because some people just won't care to sell and some people won't find a buyer. This is the signal to foreign buyers who are standing by the way. And the landlords are going to be pressed for discounts by the tenants because a lot of them have to pay the dollar equivalent of the monthly fee. And their salaries now have dropped as well because transfers will now be tricky. Foreign income will now be tricky because services will keep collapsing, shutting down, blocking this region, and we are going to get screwed. And this is not a figure of speech. Let's assume it's a professional term. Now, you know these updates are called COVID updates, but I guess none of you really give a damn about the statistics for the day. In case you do, there are no limitations of any kind, no masks, no self-isolation or anything, unless you are positive on PCR. And getting a PCR is a bit of a challenge here, even if you're asked to. The hospitals are being reconverted to a normal routine again. That's the official story, at least. And the only issues with the COVID are entrance issues by land. You can fly via Istanbul. Belarus and the Turkish are still flying, as I'm told, and a few other things that are available. Check the apps, because websites here are unavailable abroad. They're being blocked. The state government websites and the commercial websites of the sanctioned companies are being blocked overseas. So you may want to use apps, or just ask me about what's available. If I have a free moment, I'll definitely drop you a screenshot of the airport departure page, and you'll see what's really flying. My understanding is that officially Belarusian units are still standing by the border. There is no documented evidence that Belarusians are officially fighting to support the Russian military operation, as the media in Russia is forced to declare the bloody war, and it's a bloody war happening there. And let's say the standby will continue, and there's a philosophical debate about local army being used or not being used in Ukraine, and the purpose of that and the efficiency of that, because this army has only fought with a routine for the parades, for the Victory Day, and that's basically it. We are not fighting with anybody officially. And well, as if we see this thing as the joint project of the two leaders, I'll omit the colorful terms just to keep it as, let's say, emotion-free as I can. It's kind of hard. So they may go for that, because just for the sake of showing they are both with their four hands stuck in here, and they're doing all their best to try and win some face at the game they're losing, basically. It's evident at some point that the Ukrainians, and cheers to them, Ukrainians are going to pull it off. I guess it's just 50-50 yet, and the analysts are still arguing about the odds, so I'm just nobody to judge about that. I'm just wishing them luck, and if it's taking some time, and it's going to take much more time than this, Russia is not going to make it, and we will be washed down the drain along with our eastern friends, on which we are dependent for oil, gas, and the exported stuff that we produce here, and that's in no demand somewhere else. That's it. Some of you commented to me and messaged me privately saying that your friends, your girlfriends, your relatives sitting out here are very silent about what's happening. A lot of people are brainwashed, that's for sure, and they believe in the anti-Nazi operation in Ukraine. Thing is that my fellow volunteers from the election year in 2020 fled to Ukraine, and they tell me about the bombings and about the machine guns fired and everything on the streets, and pretty innocent civilian people getting killed in Kiev, where one of the girls is, and elsewhere. And I'm just not buying the anti-Nazi operation. Several hundred people were detained during the protest against the war in Ukraine, which in my personal point of view is a pretty fruitless thing. I just can't comment on that. I can't comment on the rather stupid posts on Facebook, commercial posts about Belarusians go riot against the war. In general, it seems to be a very straight signal, a very straight idea to, express our civilian point of view, but nobody allows that to happen anymore. Since 2020, anybody on the street with socks of different color just gets jailed. And you don't want to find yourself in the jail for 10, being number 30, and meals and everything and conditions being pretty much death camp-like. So I guess that's one of the things that keeps us indoors. It's a philosophical point of view, of course, and my channel may get unstable after I say this, but I have to say this about how much we are to blame for having the leader that we still have. Since 2020, our friends in the West have been expressing their deepest and their most blah blah blah, but any specific steps they just started to take now, and they just started to take when it came to do with Ukraine. Nobody really gave a shit on the whole, on a large scale, when Belarus was being tossed, tortured, and the civilian protests here were being destroyed by the government. So it's really hard to tell of how much of a protest we can pull off and how big it can get. But as the economic hardships are mounting up, I guess within 3 weeks, maybe 5 weeks, streets here may change a little bit. That's just my personal prediction. As for the perspective of a simple man, a simple person, I would say that a lot of factories that haven't been efficient will be shut down. A lot of industries, recreation industry for sure will be hurt. Catering, tourism is dead, I guess. That's a shame, because I'm an ex-tour guide. Some of you may know that. And things are gonna be really, really tough although right now nothing hurts the eye on the streets. People are kind of calm, people are going down their own affairs, food delivery and everything still kind of works, but by and by the news about the new sanctions and their impact on Belarusians specifically is adding fun to all this. So from the perspective of a simple man, it's all going to be very challenging, and by the end of March, in April, we'll see if the streets here will change. I'll definitely try to report as much as I can and to be as biased as much as I can. Hopefully I won't have to just post the placard somewhere on Facebook soon, because the YouTube will chop the channel and everything. Thanks very much to all of you guys who are donating 10-20 bucks. That's really keeping me going now, because I'm unemployed again. Thanks to all the superpowers of the world, and ask your questions. Thank you very much for your feedback. Press the likes, the dislikes under the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you, well, at least online, at least anytime soon. Thank you very much. Cheers.